Call this regular meeting of the governing board to order on Tuesday, May 6th, 2025 at 5 p.m. in the Santa Cruz Valley Unified School District number 35, governing boardroom, district office 570, Comito Lito Galindo, Rio Rico, Arizona. Please stand for the pledge. Mr. Ramirez.
Sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Susan Fobian, absent. Mr. Rene Ramirez.
Here.
Ben Guerrero.
Here.
Ms. Lourdes Vasquez, absent, and Mr. Brad Beach, present. All right, we do have a quorum. Adoption of the agenda. Any changes?
Yes, I would like to request that the number 2 executive session be removed.
Okay,
There is no updates.
so motion to approve the agenda with the removal of number 2 as presented.
So.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Call to the public. Members of the public wishing to address the board on matters within the jurisdiction of the board are required to complete the appropriate request to speak form and submit the completed form to the board secretary prior to the meeting. At the conclusion of the call to the public, individual members of the board may only respond to criticism. Ask staff to review the matter or ask that a matter be placed on future agenda. However, board members shall not discuss or take legal actions on matter raised during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. Public comment should be limited to 3 minutes or less. And the board requests that the public refrain from the use of speech or language that is offensive or inappropriate pursuant to policy 1302. The president will limit discussion whenever he deems such action appropriate to the proper conduct of the meeting. And we do have call to the public, Mr. Benjamin Moreno.
My name is Benjamin Moreno. We had a concern who's a transgender woman, denied and suspended for using the women's bathroom. And if you were to look at her, you would see a woman. Tell her she was a woman.
Excuse me, could you speak up, please?
I'm sorry. For the beginning, or
Maybe get closer to the mic. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And we had another problem. We have another concern with a security guard who's been going to the girls' bathroom without notice or knocking, just going in there and stalls. And he's also been putting down some people to take away their phones. Like, it's one thing to take away their phone, but then he puts down some people. It's really grabs them. That's all our concerns.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Moreno, for sharing those. Verdugo, can you look into that? Okay, appreciate it. Executive session. Number 3, presentations, retiree recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Beach. We have our recognition of our retirees, so I'm going to go ahead and move up to.
Yes.
Normally we'd have the voice of the Hawks, Mr. Fanning, but I didn't think it was appropriate to have him announce his own retirement. So I will try to do my best to take his spot up there. And I will not do justice for Mr. Fanning, but I will attempt to fill in. Tonight, we are recognizing our retirees. We have 11 retirees from our district. We are very fortunate to have great staff within our district, and many of these individuals have put in.
Mr. Verdugo, you guys on the leave, or I saw somebody, you guys like exit.
Yeah.
If you want to, you can leave now.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, Mr. Verdugo.
Okay. And again, we're very fortunate to have many of these individuals for numerous years within our district, ranging from 1 year, which we still recognize because that individual is retiring, all the way up to 37 years in this district. And they put in a lot of years, a total of 222 years with this group of 11. And one of the things that this board has been very supportive of is inviting our retirees to come back to work. So even if you retire, always welcome to come.
Hiring. Hiring, did you hear that?
We, the door is never closed for you. We want to make sure that you understand that as you retire this year. So we will go ahead and recognize by sight first. So first teacher recognized this evening is Ms. Julie Ballard, retiring from Calabasas and has 20 years in Calabasas. Get a basket too.
You want to put that in here? That way, there you go. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
We'll let the board talk about or ask questions at the end once we get everybody, but many of these teachers I've had the pleasure of working with, including Miss Ballard. She taught my son, both of my sons, English, which they still talk about learning from her. And I don't know if it was good for her to have my son in class, but I know they really appreciated being in her. Our next teacher, Guatemala, Miss Wendy Noriega. Also from Ms. Elizabeth Barnola. And how many years?
Total 37.
30, yeah. Well, 37 and 27 here and Calabasas, same way. So.
Yep.
In the next, I'm going to get and save them for a little. Person is in the Professor Arena. 21 years. Now, I've joked many times about working as superintendent at the sort of like dog years. But I think as the bus driver, it's even working. 21 years, they're equal to 70.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do some more work for sure. So thank you for all your. Miss Isabel Febres, who's been in district wide. Been with us for 23 years. Been here for years. Mr. Vidal has been in education. 30 total. 30 total. Sorry. Ms. Celia Dietrich from Mountain View. Ms. Dietrich has been, she's currently as a purple, but I know she's been a substitute, been all over the district for, at least I know since I've been in the district, she's been held many different positions, ending her career with this finally retiring. So thank you for all your years of service. But Lydia Bermudez, she's here. She's a bus monitor, and she has 9 years. I think she was. And another person that I want to recognize, 26 years, who's not here to do as well, Ms. Alma Valle, who was our safety compliance trainer. Now, our final two recognitions. First, to recognize a teacher who's been at Saginaw for 37 years.
Only 30. I don't know where they set through the 7 in.
Yeah.
Okay. Taking your jobs where 30. Oh.
He has been in kinder all of those years.
Yeah.
Dog years, so that's like 90. But I want to congratulate her and thank her for all her years of service. Miss Melinda Scanlon, 30. Yeah. And if Ms. Vasquez was here, she'd say she started teaching when she was 12.
No, I think they want one more picture.
Okay. Take as many pictures as.
There you go. 37 years.
Yeah. I get as many as I want.
And last, but not least, 34 years for an individual that I owe a lot to because he's the person that hired me and brought me to the district. So all the curse that happened here in the district, you can thank him. I appreciate all of his friendship, mentorship, and all the things that he's done for our district and continues to do for our community. He shifted into a new role as a county supervisor, which will continue to have an impact on our community. But again, he's been, started out at Mountain View, became a principal, assistant principal, our community outreach, the voice of the Hawks, and the unofficial mayor of Rio Rico. So congratulate Mr. Fanning, 34 years of So again, just in closing, hear their thought. Just like I mentioned last board meeting, when we have people switch into different roles, sometimes it's bittersweet. It's also bittersweet for individuals that are retiring because they contribute so much. And it's very hard to replace these individuals in our system. We are seeing more and more people retire, and we wish them well and congratulate them on all of the things that they're going to do. And we wish them great success in whatever the next adventure may be, whether it be pickleball champion, or taking care of grandkids, all those different things, or just enjoying your time. But we again appreciate all your service, and again, congratulations.
Ben, you got anything?
Yeah, that's a lot of years, right? When you look at that, the first thing that comes to mind is the amount of lives you've touched in those years, right? I know teachers, at least for me, they had one of the biggest impacts, as I was growing up and still to this day, Mr. Fanning being one of them. Thank you, Mr. Fanning. The other thing I think about is, just like Mr. Verdugo talked about, is the amount of experience that you lose, with all these years that you guys have served. And the last thing I think about is just how difficult your job is. I have the opportunity to teach adult education every once in a bit, and at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. So I don't know how you guys did it for so many years, but congratulations, and whatever it is you decide to do after retirement, it's well deserved and well earned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for all your service to our community and to the kids. And I think it was very well said. Look at all the lives that you touch. I mean, there's just so many of them in all those years that you put in. By the way, Ms. Scanlon, if I were you, I wouldn't have said anything. I would have had him sign those 7 years and send it to ASS. So still might, you never know. So. But I'd like to thank the superintendent for all he's done to improve these ceremonies every year. I was pretty harsh on him when I was first on the board, and he lived up to criticism as he always does. And no matter what people say, because there's always all kinds of gossip. Mr. Verdugo always tries hard to make things better in our district. Takes a lot of flack, if something goes wrong. But nobody talks about the great things he did like that, because Mr. Beach was mentioning how nice the plaques are. And they really are. They're very beautiful plaques. And so you lived up to that. And I want to thank you. I also want to thank Angie, because she really hustles to put all this together for everybody every year. And again, it just gets better and better. So some of you I worked with, had the pleasure of working with, like Julie. So I just want to say a little something about the people I work with. Julie just has a heart of gold, and she's just such a good lady and a real tough soul, though, I must say, because she had that reputation of being the great 8th grade English teacher. And then she moved around to different spots, within the district, different occupations. Still stayed with us, thank God. But she also worked with me in 7th grade, and she did little things from the very beginning. Who would come to my room and give me things. She probably forgot that she gave me stuff, and she always gave me good tips for how to handle people that I didn't know when I was first new. So, as a teacher, that's very invaluable, so whose feet not to step on or what not to do or what to do. So, Julie, thank you for all those times. All the times when we would park next to each other in the morning and you give me little tips about people or things or give me ideas. And I appreciate it very, very much. You're a very good friend. Thank you so much for all you did for me. And let's see, Wendy, maybe you forgot this, but you taught me how to do this project on the circulatory system. So it was really cool. And my kids benefited from that and they loved it. And I wish you had seen some of them, because they weren't exactly like the ones that you showed me in your classroom. But the kids benefited and I became a better science teacher for it. So I'm very grateful for what you taught me. Thank you. And John, I could just go on and on telling stories about things that we did. I'll spare you all those ones, all those stories I know you wouldn't want me to tell you, but you're just a funny guy. And I learned a lot from you. And I want to thank you for teaching me how to coach basketball, because I knew this about coaching basketball when I started with him. And Mr. Harris left that year. So John had a difficult choice, and he picked me up and I didn't know anything. And so I'm very grateful to you for having chosen me. And I learned a lot of things from you just in that first year. But I remember you teaching, and I'm sure everybody remembers him talking about being classy. And also, the other thing that I still carry with me today in my classroom is telling my kids to make good decisions. I think that's really invaluable, because that carries on. It seems some of them carry that on, and it's like a baton passed on. So I'm very grateful for that and for all that you taught me and with regard to how to coach ball. Experiences that we had, on the bus. Oh, and he taught me how to play cribbage. I didn't know how to play cribbage, but then he got mad at me because when we went to Flagstaff, I was slaughtering him all the way up on the bus, He forgot that I'm a chess player and I was using my chess skills, my spatial skills for that. And so I was slaughtering him. He's so competitive. I'm going to tell him this. He got so mad at me at the end of that ride that he threw the cards down on the floor because he's so competitive. But then on the way back, he killed me. Like I could, just the opposite on the way back home. I couldn't win a game against him. But thank you for teaching me how to play cribbage as well. And what else? Sportsmanship. That's another one that was really big. It seems so easy to teach sportsmanship, but sometimes when you're a coach and you want to win really bad, even in the world, you would think even in the world of chess, you can do it, but you can. And so I learned how to be a better coach, even in chess, John, because I taught them sportsmanship in that. And even down where I am now, I teach the kids that are my athletes in the room. So, and the other big one is just, thank you for being such a damn good friend. You're a really good friend. I appreciate all your support throughout the years, even when I worked for you at the middle school. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. That's it. Hi, Stu.
All right. Yeah, most of you taught my kids who are now married and they have kids, and some of you teaching my grandkids. So I hope they're not the reason why you're retiring. They're probably a handful. But yeah, just one short story because I know we're running a little long. But I used to coach with John Fanning and another individual called Doug Brewington. And it used to be early 90s. Football field was patches of grass with dirt. I remember at halftime, our school was so small that half the football team was also on the marching band. So Mr. Brewington was yelling at the kids. We're behind by a couple points. John's sort of fuming up and down. And the band director came over and said, "Carlos Novello, get over there. We need you." Boom, boom. And Brewington looked at like, what the heck? Half our football team left. I look over and Carlos Novello is trying to put a tuba on over the shoulder pad. Just wasn't working, but yeah, compared to what we have now, we've come a long way. Yep. What else? Let's see. Our bus drivers, man, they're like family. You took us up to every state wrestling meet. You guys got to participate. You guys got to experience that exhilaration of the wins and losses. And one story coming down off of Flagstaff in February is like -30. Coming off the hill, and the bus doors wouldn't close. So, me being the Marine, I'm always prepared. I had a blanket. I was wrapped up like a burrito, and Mr. Brewington was crying like a little puppy. Beach, can you give me some of your blanket? I was like, nah, I ain't giving it up. The bus driver was also crying, so I had two people crying, and but they weathered the storm and got us home safely. So appreciate all the bus drivers here that are retiring. But yeah, like everybody said, thank you for the thousands of students that you've mentored and that has crossed your pathway and that you made a difference. So that's super important. And they will come back. You're going to see them at Disneyland one with their kids, and they're going to be thanking you. So you did make a difference. Enjoy your retirement, love, laugh, live, and spend that money. You guys deserve it. Thank you. Thank you.
Before we let them go, just a reminder that we invite all of our retirees to come back. Not just to work, but to our welcome back ceremony in the fall. We always recognize anybody that wants to come back because, again, whether you're working with us or not, you're still part of our family, and we appreciate all you do. So if you want to just come and sit through the welcome back ceremony, you're welcome to come back. So please feel free to do that. But again, thank you. And as Mr. Beach said to the other students, you can make the exit if you want to get out of here. But we appreciate you and feel free to take some food and cake with you.
Yes.
Take care of their ACR too. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Changing of
Get out.
During the meeting? Brad, you're really gonna adjourn? You're gonna adjourn? Brad, he's razzing me. I'm looking at the clock. 17 minutes have gone by. He's like, giving me a hard time, like I talked for 20 minutes or something.
I'm surprised you cut it short, man. Yeah. Monica. How you doing? I see you on the agenda. Yep. All right, subject B, superintendent's report.
Thank you. Just a few things. I want to congratulate all the spring sports ending their seasons. And as we gear up for graduation and other activities, I'm looking forward to seeing some of our students. We started our student visits, as we mentioned previously, with the board. It was nice to do some school site visits, which we visited with staff members. We are now visiting with students. Today was our first visit at Mountain View Elementary. And it was a very nice visit to hear some of the things that they are very excited about. Some of the things that, which was surprising, the things they want to change is they want to stay in school longer. Was a very interesting, yeah, that he said I would stay here all day if I could, and which was a surprising comment, but it was great to see some of the things that they really enjoy is our physical education program. They get to participate. Well, out of the 6 students, I think 4 of them were like PE. I'm like, all right, good. So it was again very positive, and we're going to continue that through the next few weeks, visiting each of the school sites and getting feedback from all of the or not all, but a group of students for our strategic plan, as well as just to hear how things are going at the school sites. Wanted to thank the team for the talent show and STEAM night. Those things were great events. The talent show was just incredible to hear those students perform. Theme night was just incredible. So thank the TLA and the rest of the team for putting that together. It was just I mean, students everywhere, families. It was just a great evening to showcase the things that are happening in our district. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So governing board members report, Mr. Guerrero.
Nothing to report.
Yeah, I wanted to thank Chris Laughlin. The other night, I had after a meeting that let us use the governing boardroom for my colleague and I wanted to show off all the new buildings and everything. And fortunately, one of the gates was open, so I was able to show him, my colleague from where I work. I showed him the pool and everything and their stadium, and he was really wild. But I met Mr. Laughlin in the parking lot. At first, I thought he was a student, because it's dark and he looked so young. I was gonna chase him out of there and tell him, "What are you doing here?" But then I realized when I started getting near him that he was there. It was Mr. Laughlin. So he was so gracious that he took us up to and showed us the weight room and all the facilities up above. And so I wanted to give him a big shout out for that. He took his time to do it, and I know he was probably in a hurry to go home, but it's time to show us around. So I want to thank him for that. And I want to thank you, Mr. Verdugo, for letting me use the district office for my meeting. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, let's see, man, so much going on. I was talking to Mr. Verdugo. We're getting down to crunch time, but I'll go through this real quick. 13th Annual Excellent in Education Banquet, which recognizes our top students and also teachers that have made a difference in their learning experience. Beautiful night, honors our top 5%. I would have never made that, so, but it's still my only experience there. But it was great to see the students and the teachers that they picked that made a difference in their lives and to hear their stories. So that was an amazing event. STEM night was fun seeing all the science projects and programs. Mr. Verdugo and I, it was very humbling getting coached by a fourth grader on how to code and move a mouse at every location. Mr. Verdugo was like, did you get that? I was like, nah, it's all you. Talent show, yeah. Those dancers had more moves than a washing machine. Miss Padilla, Mateo, I think, you know, if school doesn't work out for him, he has a gig in Nashville. Did an amazing job there. But it was great to see all the talent in our community. This doesn't make sense to me, but Principal Appreciation Day, Teacher Recognition Week. Yeah, principals only get a day. Man, that ain't fair. Okay. But this week is Teacher Recognition Week. Just remember, you are appreciated all year long, regardless if you're a teacher, principal, administrators. You guys do a heck of a lot for our district, so we appreciate you. Let's see, what else is going on? Thanks to the principal for opening up their schools, so Superintendent Verdugo and the board members can walk around and see and hear all the good things that are happening. Some of the teacher feedback that we received, at least at the high school, several teachers wanted principals at the high school to drop in more often to see how their things are going, which is unique. You know, most teachers are like, nah, keep them out. So that's actually a good thing. I was talking to one of the Filipino teachers, and I want to thank Mr. Canoy and I think Rebecca, because you alleviated a lot of anxiety and stress because she was renewing her extension here, and you guys got it through. And that's just, I could see life in her, that she was very happy that you guys were on it, submitted everything on time. So a shout out to Mr. Canoy and Rebecca. I'm sure you're involved in that. Yep. Let's see. Other than that, things we talked about this summer with the dress code, cell phones, etc. We'll get on that. And yeah, busy. A couple weeks, we're going to be graduating, transitions. So let's finish strong. And that's all I have. Okay. Number 4, information, discussion, action. Subject A, award RFP 2601, food service manager.
Thank you. As the board is aware, we went out for bid for our food service. And we had a committee that reviewed numerous bids, and I'm going to present it to Ms. Brown, who will recommend the awarding of the bid, but also to notify the board that it was reviewed by the Department of Education for confirmation that it meets our requirements. And so I'll go to terms.
Thank you, Mr. Verdugo. Good evening, members of the board and the general public. As part of a regular cycle to go out for bid, we tap the market. It's a lengthy process, one that takes over 45 days, if not more. We put together a committee, and I want to take this opportunity to thank the committee for their hard work. Evaluating food service proposals, it's not an easy task. It is a process that is highly regulated, since it's a program that is funded by the federal government. It comes with a lot of regulations. As a matter of fact, the template to put out the bid comes from the Department of Education, the Health and Nutrition Division. And they are the ones that also approved a recommendation before I can even bring it to you. Okay. So as Mr. Verdugo mentioned, the proposal that we have on the agenda tonight for award has been reviewed for compliance by the Department of Education before making it to tonight's agenda. So the recommendation is to move forward with Southwest Food Service for food service management company for our district beginning in July 1. Okay. We received 4 proposals, and like Mr. Verdugo mentioned, they were evaluated. We had presentations for the committee, and for review, the recommendation is to move forward with Southwest Food Service.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Any questions there, Ben?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. I guess the first question I have is, it says that you have a guaranteed amount for the first year. So how long is the contract for? And then do every year you have to go out and do this, or how does this work?
Oh, no, please, not every year.
No, I can imagine, but I'm just curious, yeah.
Absolutely. So we are allowed to renew this contract a maximum of 5 years. Okay. And then in year 5, that's when we go out and tap the market again. And every year, you'll see on the agenda around this time of the year, an amendment. That amendment will again list the cost per meal and a guarantee. Every client complies with a guarantee annually.
Okay.
The other thing that I want to take this opportunity to review is that the food service contract is our goal, and we have met this goal all along, is to make it a self-sufficient operation. What does that mean? It means that based on the number of meals that we serve, we submit a monthly claim to the feds, and we use that reimbursement to pay for this contract, making it cost neutral for the school district. And what they are listing as the excess, it's not something that we can repurpose in an area outside of food service. It's important to recognize that the amount of $631,000 that is listed on the memo, it has to be reinvested in the food service program. And that's how we are able to introduce equipment and modify or replace furniture at our cafeterias. So that's where we reinvested in the program.
And just real quick to go back to that first question. Now, if we are not satisfied with the service we are receiving, then we can then determine we want to go back out for bid. And I'm hoping, knock on wood, that that's not going to happen, but it is always an option annually. If we say, we give them notice and say, we're not satisfied with what you're producing and we would like to then reopen, but it rarely happens, but there is always that option.
Thank you. That answered my questions. And now I guess I have one more question. Do you guys get to sample the food, or how does that go? Because I want to get on that committee somehow.
Some vendors do bring food. I did ask vendors this year not to bring food. I think that for me, when a vendor brings samples for the board, or for the committee, the evaluation, it's missing the mark on who their real client is. To me, and I keep telling them that their main client is the student. So I'm not really concerned about them providing excellent samples and putting up their best show for the committee, because their main client is in our school building.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I just want to say that, see, Mr. Guerrero, the time that Mr. Beach wasn't here and I got on your case and I said, it's your job tonight to make up for Mr. Beach and make everybody laugh. He said, nobody laughs at my jokes. So I'm not gonna talk like.
So there you see.
Now I was gonna ask you, what was some of the criteria involved in your decision?
Food quality, and also innovations. What are they going to do to increase participation? So they have to provide with some of the menu samples of their menus and programs that they plan to introduce to promote participation. And an area that we struggle sometimes is to have students participate in our breakfast program. So they talked about strategies that they are going to use, but we also have a representative with us tonight from Southwest that maybe can elaborate on those initiatives if you want, Mr. Ramirez. He is joining us.
Talked about the quality of food, but I'm sure that he serves something different, and I was just wondering about, I take it that they're very concerned about, our healthy food too, because sometimes I would see the food when I used to work here and I was like, God, I don't know how healthy it is for kids, but it's really changed since then.
Well, keep in mind that I mentioned earlier that the program is highly regulated, and the menus themselves are highly regulated in the amount of sodium they can use, in terms of sugar, all of that. It's very, very regulated. All of the meals that are served in our school cafeterias must be compliant in that regard before they can be put out to our students. So,
Yeah, I was just thinking along the lines about how obesity and diabetes have grown
so
in our nation, and it's one of the reasons they responded that way, but that's why I asked that. But I'm sure that that was part of the equation, so thank you.
Okay, I have nothing. Motion to approve the recommendation to award the RFP 2601 food service management contract to vendor Southwest Food Service SFE to provide meals as presented.
So moved.
Second.
And a motion and second, any further discussion? Nope. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
We still have a quorum.
I can help
To
you.
make sure that
It'll just be those
can help
people.
you.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, so as long as we have a quorum,
Okay,
we don't need to.
All right.
They can still vote.
gotcha. Okay, thank you. Subject B, award RFP 2602 facility contract. This is Mr. Verdugo.
Thank you. Again, similar to what we just processed with our food service, but again, I wanted to remind the board, this is something that we went early. We were not satisfied with the service we were receiving from our current vendor. So the board decided that they wanted to call for new bids. And in our previous years, I would say that we didn't receive a lot of response. And this year was the largest response we've ever received for our facilities, maintenance and grounds. So yes, very, very positive. And again, the committee did a lot of work. Mr. Beaches was part of that committee. And so they extensively looked at all those presentations, and again, going with Jerome Brown to discuss that process and the recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Verdugo. Well, in this case, Mr. Guerrero, the district exercised its right to end a contract early, right? So instead of just like a recommendation to renew for the last year with the current provider, the district felt it was necessary to go out and tap the market in this area. One thing that we did this year to the bid document itself, we modified the template to give the district the opportunity to award to multiple vendors if that was the best option. We also said that we could award discipline, meaning I could just award one company for grounds, I could award one company for custodian, I can do one for maintenance, or I could hire one company that can cover all disciplines, which is what you have in front of you. The recommendation from the committee is to award all disciplines, custodial, grounds, and facility management to SSC Services for Education. And tonight in the audience, we have two other representatives from the company with us. In case you have any specific questions regarding to their bid, they're here to address any questions or concerns.
I was gonna say, if Dr. Linderbill would also, if he had any comments about, as she oversees the facilities, I don't know if you had any
No,
comments.
no, thank you, Mr. Verdugo. I think Ms. Brown covered it, unless there are any questions for the representatives from SSC.
Questions?
Mr. Ramirez.
Yeah, well, I always ask whenever we have something big like this, whether we're hiring our local people because of, the unemployment rate in Santa Cruz County. So I'm always concerned about that. What can you tell me about that?
So, for both contracts, Mr. Ramirez, food service and facilities, the companies are going to be, working with the current employees in both disciplines. And we're gonna have transition meetings so that the employees just will transition to the new company. Obviously, the employee will have a choice if that during the transition period, they do not want to transfer to the new company, that is on them. But the proposals came in where they would hire over the employee.
Although we did lose people that were not really keeping up. Grounds and everything.
Absolutely. And that would continue to be the case moving forward. The companies have.
I
the
don't
right
object to that. I said it here publicly. I didn't like what was going on, especially after Mr. Beach's presentation. But I just wanted to mention that because we don't have everybody.
Yeah, so the expectations are set for the companies to deliver right? And if they find that some of the staff members are meeting that expectation, these companies will go through their process just like we would with our own employees.
I have nothing. Okay, motion to approve the recommendation to award the RFP 2602 to SSC Services for Education to provide custodial grounds and facility management services using the maintenance and operation funding source as presented.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I will abstain because I was on the committee. Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, subject C.
We'll
Cal- We're good?
Yep.
Subject C. Appreciate you guys coming down.
Thank you.
And, yep, so appreciate it. And if you want to leave, you can, cause. All righty. Subject C, Calabasas School Assistant Principal, 25-26 school year, Mr. Verdugo.
Thank you. So normally, we go through a process, when we have positions that we interview and go through the process, unless, we have somebody that would request a transfer that we feel is highly qualified for a position. And so I always tell individuals, in our district that your intent is to move up in any way, that your, current job is your interview process for the next job. That you're always interviewing for that next position. And so in discussion with Mr. Lopez, the principal at Guatemala, we had a lengthy discussion about, the quality of this candidate's work. And he felt very confident in what she was doing as his assistant to the principal. So then I had a conversation with, Mr. Chavez, and we had a discussion, and, he felt very confident, in making and approving that transition to hire and recommend Ms. Monica De La Cooper for the assistant principal position at Calabasas. So I don't know if you wanted to share anything. Got a spot, I know.
Look at this, John, you're wearing a jacket in May. It's incredible.
So good evening, members of, like our board, our president, who I wish would be here today, because I know she'd be super excited for Calabasas. I know that she has a very big passion for Calabasas, so we're thinking about you, Ms. Vasquez, but and to members of the board, I am very excited to have like Monica Delgado Cooper join our team. I know that she's gonna be bringing some, great work ethic, great knowledge, great relationship building, from her experience working with Mr. Lopez. I know that he was great, in really mentoring her. And I want to thank Mr. Richard Ormond as well, for his 2 years with us at Calabasas and for all that he did. We wish him well with his family and his move back up home. But we're very excited to have Ms. Delgado Cooper joining our team. Very, very excited for our families, for our kids, for our staff members. And that's pretty much all that I have to say. So welcome.
Thank you. So want to come up?
Hey, Mr. Chavez, this board member worked at Calabasas too, I have interest too.
I know.
I'm just teasing. Just razzing you.
Put Ms. Delgado Cooper on the spot.
Yes, that's what happens.
Oh, so not ready. I just wanna thank, first of all, Mr. Lopez for his mentorship and his support and his guidance. For trusting in me for this position, for Mr. Chavez, my new boss. For his trust in me, and I know we're gonna do a great team. I'm very excited. I'm very nervous. But I'm very excited for this change, and I just wanna say thank you to you guys. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Monica.
From the board.
Any questions?
Mr. Guerrero?
You're not let off the.
Congratulations.
No, I don't have any questions. I just wish you all the luck. It's a tough position. I've always said it's tough to be a administrator at Calabasas. You got a lot. It's like running 2 schools there, so, and you know that very, very well. So, congrats.
Thank you so much.
And I wish you a lot of luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
I worked with Miss Monica Delgado Cooper for many of years, and I'm happy that she got her break in our district and we didn't lose her to other districts. She's bilingual, she's from the area, she lives in our neighborhood right up the block. So she's a part of this community. And so Monica, I'm super happy for you. You know, seeing the struggles that you went through going to school and holding down a job. You're super knowledgeable. You were mentored under Mr. Lopez 1 year, and you'll be also mentored by Mr. Chavez. You're gonna do an amazing job, so super proud of you.
Thank you.
We voting tonight or?
Yeah, voting right now.
Okay, motion to approve the 2025-2026 certified administrator contract for Ms. Monica Delgado Cooper as the 2025-2026 assistant principal at Calabasas School in the amount of $68,477.
So moved. Second.
Then a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay, subject D, 2024-2025 budget revision.
All right, thank you. So it's the time of year that we have our budget revision.
Year. We take this final opportunity to revise our existing fiscal year budget. And just to highlight the reasons of our budget, when I put together the budget back in June, July timeframe, I'm doing a forecast and I'm also at that time projecting your carryover from the prior year. Why is that? Because during that time, we're still closing the prior year while we're opening the new fiscal year. And it's what we call the encumbrance period. So a lot of our encumbrances for the previous year are still running as we close that fiscal year. But at the same time, we're starting a new one. And so tonight's revision just is to solidify our enrollment. And you can see that back in June of 2024, projection for the general ADM, average daily membership, was 3,368. And we were able to close year at the 100th day. And that's when the final figure comes in for funding purposes of 3,428. So a plus 60 variance in our favor. And the other area that generates funding for us is the group B weight, the add-on count. And I projected 1,914. And at the 100th day, we were at 1,968. So a plus 50. So both of those adjustments will generate additional M&O and capital funds for us. And that's what we're incorporating in the budget today. The other thing that I went ahead and adjusted was our carryover from the prior year to the actual carryover. I also take this opportunity to incorporate and finalize the federal and state project allocations, because when I present the budget to you in June, July, the grants are still, some of them have not been approved for the new year. So really, we don't have the final amounts. Tonight, we have those for you. And I went ahead and did a summary. The first section highlights our two operating funds for M&O and our capital. You can see that based on the adjustments to enrollment plus a carryover, our M&O fund is going up 2.9% of the budget that you approved back in July. And our capital fund is going up 4%. Not major. You don't expect major adjustments at this time of the year, but still, we want to recognize anything that increases our budget. Or for that matter, vice versa, we would have to. On the other hand, in the area of grants, you can see that the federal programs is showing a decrease of 18%. And the reason why is I want to remind the board that we are done with all the ESSER one-time funding for the COVID era. So we are recognizing that drop in federal funding, and that's why you see a decrease of 18% in that area. followed by a decrease in state programs by 8.6%. Again, some of those grants were tied to one-time funding as well. So that's what you see those adjustments there. I went ahead and listed for you the final numbers that were still in this year's budget, just left over from ESSER funds, our COVID-19 one-time federal funding. In our final ESSER 3, this year we invested 45,102. And then we had two homeless grants, one mini grant, and we had $3,613 left there. And then for the homeless 2 entitlement grant, we had $6,081 left there. And we're not gonna see any of that for next year. Those are just remaining dollars. The other thing that I went ahead and take this opportunity to adjust is our cash accounts. So as a reminder, we handle budget control funds, operating funds. Then we handle some cash control accounts, your gift and donations, credit, building renewal grant, which I went ahead and highlighted how much we were able to capture from the school facilities board this year. And that came at $1.7 million. That's how much we were able to capture to enhance our facilities for our staff and students. And those dollars went for an HVAC unit replacement for Cuatimundi MPO. We were able to capture also, we're still working on, it's a generator for, not a generator.
It's a SMS system, the electric.
High school. So those are the main projects we were able to capture and collaborate with SFB to enhance our facilities this year. That is a summary of the budget revenue.
No questions, thank you, good job.
Ramirez?
And you always do a fine job, or a thorough job, and I know you're always trying to look out there and give us a good conservative estimate so that well in line with everything at this time of the year. And I know that's not easy because you're trying to project all the populace, our new attendance. So, but I appreciate all that you do. So, thank you so much. You're being a good guardian.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Okay. Motion to approve the presentation presented revised fiscal year 2024-2025 budget as presented. Additionally, in accordance with ARS 15905G, the governing board authorizes the district administration to overspend any one functional area line item within the maintenance and operations section of the budget without exceeding the total budgeted expenditures.
So moved.
Second.
Then a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nays. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Subject E, teacher evaluation system.
I think, so this has been a committee that's been working on this for, I don't know, years, 3 years. So it's been a tool that we've really wanted to improve how we evaluate our leaders. And it actually will then feed into other evaluations. And but yeah, who will be sharing this tool.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm very excited to be able to share this. As you'll notice where we adjusted already, it's going to be the SEV 35 development, feedback, and evaluation tool. Something that we're really proud of with our standards-based grading and reporting. Something that we expect our students to do is meet a proficiency level in order for them to know that, to show that they're demonstrating mastery of a certain standard. We felt that it was important also to have something that mirrored on the teacher component. Something that we also learned through our personalized learning and our COMSI base over the 5 years is that they're not always going to get it the first time. And so you need to help assist them and then give them the proper feedback. And then at the end of it, it would accumulate into their evaluation. The current evaluation system that we've had for quite a while, and it's SIOP. And so we had a conversation. It happened over 3 years. The first year, Ms. Quiroz and Mr. Shadler started with possibly tiering ideas of what it could look like. Even it came into with compensation, where you have a level 1 or a level 2. surprisingly, and I'm very grateful, the teachers did not want that. They wanted to have those skills, but not necessarily put it in a $500 or $1,000 stipend component. So all of these books we've gone over with book studies over the past 3 years. I had the opportunity to work with Mr. Shadler last year and develop a little bit stronger. We found a book that really resonated with us, which is Improving Teacher Development and Evaluation, which is by Dr. Robert Marzano. We can call him Bob. And then it kind of developed from there. So you're gonna see two different types, but we did a hard copy of what the evaluation tool would be, and then we're giving you an overview. Something that over the 3 years I'm really proud to say and have been part of is that it's not coming from district administration or HR or just the principals. We've had a really great task force over the years. It was Portrait of a Teacher, and then this year we thought we would start implementing. So we learned a lot about it. What do we want? What do we need? And our teachers, so I want to thank my Portrait of a Teacher teachers that are here with me tonight. Some weren't able, but they put in a tremendous amount of work. And so I'm just going to kind of give you an overview. Sorry, but I can't see that far. So give me a second. So we just really wanted to update our platform. We have the component that there's a digital component to it. And so we talked about that and how to develop it. We're using the digital platform called Empower, and that was created by Dr. Marzano and his team. Something that we've been grateful to work at with Empower, we work with Scott Bacon, and we have over the past 2 years, and they've been really great at listening to what we need. So it's really turned out to be an evaluation tool that fits the needs of Santa Cruz Valley. So we can even say this is at the point that we're at right now, we would be able to say this is a Santa Cruz Valley way of the developing the feedback and the evaluation. So that's been really great. Something that's really great about it is a self-evaluation component. And so the teachers are going to look at the different components and they're going to be able to self-evaluate. So then they have a say in their evaluation. And we do it by levels, the 4 levels, I'm at a 3 in comprehensible input. And then the administrator is able to have that feedback, and it's more instantaneous because it's digital along with the conversation in person. Two-way communication, both the teachers and the evaluators are able to upload evidence. How many times as a teacher have somebody come in your classroom for the 10 minutes, they notice they leave a note, and it's like the one and only time you sat down at your desk before and somebody happens to walk in. So they can provide evidence. I, as a administrator, can say, I did not notice or I did not see this happening in your classroom. However, they can upload evidence and have conversation within the documentation that's digital, and we can have that conversation. If it's happening and they can prove it, just like the students, if they can prove to us that they can demonstrate mastery, then that's a demonstration, and we need to listen to that. We have folios, which are really, I think, probably the most, and correct me if I'm wrong, teachers, but it's probably the best tool that we have. So with each component, we've either created with the help of Scott, or it's already embedded, but there's little books on how to. So if you're struggling in an area, say you're a 1, again, in comprehensible input, and you really need to get at a level 3, that's where the students come in, where I can see the students are understanding and demonstrating what mastery is happening, then I can go ahead and have resources of things to do and ways to adjust your teaching to help you become more proficient, along with the instructional codes coming in. But it's not trying to find from all different sources. There's a plethora of different folios for that to and then they also have the rubric. And then again, it's competency based. We did decide with the teachers' input that if you look at the original Empower, the Marzano Academies, there's 49 elements. That's very overwhelming. Plus going from paper copy to digital copy. So what we decided is, we really want to start slow and then build upon so that everybody has that chance to be successful and start from where they need to. SIOP is very highly important in our district and the way that we teach our students within here. So what we ended up doing is we took our SIOP components, and with the help of Meg and the TLA department, along with my teachers, we went through the SIOP plan and we created rubrics and what it looks like. So we used the SIOP book and we made it what we feel is very important in teaching. We created that, and so there's going to be in 3 phases. So we have 1A, we would use our sheltered instruction observation or SIOP with the components, and there's 8 of them. Then 1B will turn into Marzano competency-based elements, and there's about 10 of them. And then once we get to that next part, then we have the classroom management and organization. So I just lied to you, I'm sorry. This is for the first one, I apologize for that. But these are the different components that we're using in the evaluation tool. Sorry, Mike, I went ahead of myself. Here's what the levels are. So we would use, for step 1 or the first year, it'd be first and second year teachers or teachers who are new to the district. With little or no experience to SIOP. So that still gives us the flexibility where we've had teachers come in that are not from our district, but they understand SIOP. We wouldn't put them at a step 1 because they've already mastered that, and we would put them at the next step. So if you look at step 3, third year teachers or teachers new to our district with SIOP experience, they would start there. And then the remaining teachers who have already demonstrated proficiency in level 1 and 2, then those would go into implementing the 8 components. And they have to show that with the demonstration of a 3 or 4, which is proficient, highly proficient. And then they would start going into the elements, and they would select not more than 3 or 4 because it is something different. It's all good teaching practices, but what it would look like specifically is going to be a little bit different. So you can kind of see here what these look like in what we were having. So overall, if you were to open the Empower document online, you would see these in different colors. And so they would be responsible for that. It's the only thing that they would be evaluated on. So level 1, year 1, we broke it down into a small section. So you'll notice that there's, even with section 1A, the SIOP components, there's only 4 of them that are being implemented at that year, at that time. It's going to be lesson preparation, comprehensible input, lesson delivery, and review and assessment. And we felt that those 4 were like the really solid components of a new teacher or new to our district in mastering those. Then we would also have in section 2, the classroom management and organization. We would use the 4, establishing rules, norms, and SOPs, managing the behavior, organizing classroom and learning materials, and then handling disciplinary matters. Part 2 is already in our current evaluation tool, and we feel you need to have those classroom management and organization is very important in order to teach the lessons and have the students understand them. Level 1, year 2, so they already have that first level. Then we would go into the next section of SIOP, and it would be building background, strategies, interaction, and practice and application. That's a little bit more in depth, and it has ways and strategies that might look a little bit different for different people, but we really focus on those 4 because they've already mastered. If you can see in gray, they have already mastered those, so we're not going to have them again assess them on that. We're going to move on. And then again, we would still keep the classroom management and organization just because it's such a strong component. Level 2, so if they already completed that part and they were at 3s or 4s, and when they were at 3 and 4s in those areas, then we would move to level 2. It's not based on years, it's based on proficiency. So then you can see we would do the entire 8 SIOP components, and we would keep the classroom management and organization there. And then when you went to level 3, this is where we felt, and we looked through all of them, when we created these and looked at them, we really focused on what works for what do we have as district initiatives, which are embedded? What are things that we really want our teachers to work towards, and how can we make the classroom the best experience for our students so that they are mastering their skills. So that's where in the green color, we have the 10, and that's going to be providing scales or rubrics in a CBE classroom. We already have those. We want that to be purposeful. Tracking student progress, celebrating success, engaging students, supporting group interaction, group support, demonstrating with itness, enhancing student agency, reflecting on learning, and utilizing long-term projects. The teachers went through these, the TLA and the principal. So we've had different sets of meetings and conversations and presentations in all different areas. And these teachers, they've been at, they've implemented trialing it out. There's no harm, no foul, but we want to try it because we can't approve something or say this is going to work. If it's not working for a small group, we don't want to implement something without knowing what the benefits or setbacks would be. So that is something that we decided that we felt as a district we would be able to have, and it supported what we're doing. So the development and feedback process, remember it's a whole year through. The evaluation is at the end, but culmination. So the development, when we first start at the beginning of the year, the teachers will complete a self-evaluation using the rubrics, and that's already in the Empower program that we have. They're going to set goals based on their self-evaluation. Then they're going to have the teach and reflect using folios. And step 4 would be uploading evidence, recording feedback, and view feedback from admin. So as much as administration tries to get in currently into the classrooms, it doesn't always happen with full lessons, but they can pop in and out, and then they can quickly upload on their phone or their laptop, and they can kind of put in what they saw based off of what the goals are for the teachers and have some interaction. It creates a lot of conversation that's purposeful, and it allows the teacher, if there's an area for growth, the administrator would be able to talk to the teacher, and then also the instructional coach will be able to come in and assist in more depth. If they're really good at something and they're, maybe they're teetering between the 2 and 3 or the 3 and the 4, then they can upload that evidence to show this is why I'm demonstrating it based on the rubric that's already provided to them. They don't have to create that rubric. And then the summative evaluation component, you can see section 1A and B, section 2 and section 3. And the points that go along with it. And this is something that was developed. Meg and her team did a great job with the principals. We really talked about what it looks like for the point system and how do we show what's the most versus what is something. So we did choose for instruction and learning, it's a larger component, so it's 12 points. Then we talked about 8 points being classroom management and organization, and student achievement data being the 5 points. It's very important, but we do know the others hold weight as well. And then you can see what's highly effective, effective development, or ineffective, and this is very similar. Well, it's what we have besides the point system on our current evaluation. And this is also something that will be recorded to ADE through HR on what area where the teachers are based on school sites. I'm going to read from here, but I just wanted to, one of the exit tickets that I asked some of my team members in the portrait of a graduate. I won't read all of them, but one that was great from the high school, Mr. Moore, the new evaluation tool will give teacher greater power in their evaluation. The fact you can download evidence to show improvement gives you a more significant influence on your assessment. The folios are an excellent tool for teachers to know what is expected of them and provide them with direction on increasing their scores. A significant part of this evaluation is that it carries over year by year, so you can build your assessment. Sometimes it takes a few years to master an area, so this is a great tool to keep moving forward. I'll let you read the rest of it. It's a little lengthy. And then I wanted to point one out. I was excited to hear, I do have Miss Van Hassel. She's a middle school teacher, and this is the first year she's been in this district. So I'm just going to read hers. As a new to the district teacher, having a simplified system that allows me to easily track what I'm working on, what I need to improve, and how to do it is a dream come true. It's easy to say that most teachers are overachievers, and this will help us all grow. My main feedback was simplifying the domains and elements, which has already been implemented and fixed. Having them aligned with the SIOP allows veteran teachers to become familiar with the program and new teachers to not become overwhelmed. Furthermore, having it self-paced from your own progress allows for the process to feel relevant. Moving forward, I would continue to take feedback from teachers, both new and veteran, when rolling this out and adjusting as needed. And that's what I want to emphasize as one of the most important things that we've really done. it's very exciting when you see this to open all 49 elements, but that is very overwhelming. And so we really tried in this new that we are scaling it down. People are familiar with SIOP. And so really it's a combination of rolling this year out, if approved, that we would continue the growth of the teachers, however, scale it back where they felt comfortable because they're gonna have to learn a digital platform, understand that, kind of play with it with the administration and our instructional coaches assistant, along with they're going to be leaders next year at their sites, to become familiar while still moving and growing. And that was really something we wanted to listen to with that, so. I'll briefly show you if you could pull up the draft. This is just the paper copy of the evaluation tool. We really kept it as, we really just revised what we have and added what we learned and what we would like to move forward. So you can kind of see it has the evaluation system. It talks about the definitions, what pages are where. You can keep scrolling, Audra, thank you. The definitions, the purpose. And then here's where I kind of want to show where it's digital. So Audra, if you could just click on like lesson preparation for me. Oh, it's not gonna work because I sent it to you. Well, if you clicked on that, I apologize. If you clicked on that, it would open up and it would show the rubric. And what I think is really great about this is the rubric includes what are you good at, a 1 or a 2. That's something that the teacher can do. When is that crossover? It's a 3 and 4, or what can the students do or tell me if I ask a question to ensure that what the teacher taught is actually transferred to the students' learning. And I think that was one of the best ahas and maybe one of the scariest things for some of the teachers because they're like, I got a 2. I've never gotten a 2 anywhere. Like that's developing. What does that mean? And so really understanding that the evaluation tool, and that's why we really wanted to make sure that it was development, feedback, and evaluation. Not everybody knows everything or the third time. Just like we tell our kids, it might take one person one time to get it. It might take another in 2 different ways until they do get it. So that was something we really wanted to differentiate and to know, just like we tell our kids, it's okay if you don't know yet. We're not letting them stop there, but continue to assist them to move forward. And I think that's the biggest thing of a connection, my apologies, is with this evaluation tool, we're allowing these teachers who are really good teachers, ensuring that they transfer their knowledge of what they've spent so much time in lesson planning and developing and working, that transfers to the students effectively and ultimately them becoming better teachers and allowing our students to progress even further, which is going to hit positives in many directions. So if you scroll down a little bit, everything that is blue is linked, so you can see everything. This is the summative narrative needs to be included, so that's where the principal would be able to work with that. If you scroll down, and then this is where the principals and the TLA department really kind of differentiated and worked with to make sure it was fair and equitable and they felt comfortable as well. If you scroll. And then that would be the final. So we kept it, the statement of assurances and everything with the signatures. This will all be done. We've spoke to Scott once again. This is going to, he's really good at the coding and the back end. Everything that's put in between the teacher and the evaluator is going to aggregate from the beginning of the year to the end for the overall score. So it's not a one-time I got into the classroom, I'm giving your evaluation, and this is what I'm submitting the documentation. It's really the growth from the beginning to the end, and it all continues. You still have your formal observation, but you have those informal that are actually going to go into consideration for the final document. This document is on paper because we'll have that to keep in their files, but primarily things are digital, so it's quick access for them. Thank you. A lot of talking, I'm sorry.
No worries. Questions, Mr. Guerrero?
No, just some comments. I looking at this, it looks like a lot of work went into it, so we definitely appreciate that. And I'm a huge fan personally of the self-evaluation and goal setting, so I think that's huge. I like the feedback mechanism. and digital, right? That's, yeah, no, that's great, because like you said, it's access, something doesn't get buried under, you know, pile of papers.
And everything's printable, so if they do prefer hard copies, we can print anything out.
So, oh, good job. Yeah, thank you.
Ramirez.
Yeah, here on the second page where it talks about definitions, continuing teacher. Just wondering why we put a certificated teacher instead of just a certified teacher in other lines.
I can change that.
And then when you read a little farther, it says, for a significant portion of 3 consecutive school years and has not been designated the lowest performance classification for the previous school year. Shouldn't that read from the previous school year?
I can make that adjustment as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And that, so that's just minutia, that's just small stuff. But I was just thinking if I were a principal or an evaluator, I would really like this streamlined. Because Mr. Verdugo, I think that, I mean, you've done this before, you've done plenty of evaluations in your life. And I think a lot of people walk into the rooms and they have this long list of things that they check boxes. Sometimes it distracts from just taking a look at the person performing. There's just so many of them. And I could give you an example of how you could streamline things here. For instance, in section 2, where it says classroom management and organization components, feedback rubrics, like you have disciplinary matters, and then you have rules, norms, and standard operation procedures. But you know, when you turn in your syllabus at the beginning of the school year, you have to turn in what your classroom management policy is. I think it's still the case. When I was there, you guys required that of me. And so that's one you could just get out of the way, and you could focus on, does the person have control of their kids? And so what I'm trying to do, Mr. Lewis, streamline it so that make it easier for the administrator to walk in and not have to go through such a long list of different things. I think it really makes it hard, and it takes away from their ability to just honestly, or to just observe it. You know, you go in there and you have your head down and check box, check box, check box. So I would like to see this streamlined if possible. I know a lot of work went into this. I appreciate it. I know you guys did excellent work, like Mr. Guerrero said, but I'd like to see it streamlined. So, and one other thing, because I've always thought about this. Like, for instance, a colleague like Celia Concanon, you remember her?
Yeah.
And a lot of you in this room remember her and the things that she did. I would like to see us look at the person on a bigger scale, like not just as this machine in a classroom. I mean, when she ran drama, she didn't just run drama, she ran a drama program. So when you look at all the things that she did outside the classroom that contributed to her drama, the influence that she had on the kids, I don't know, Mr. Lugo, how to say this, but like, isn't there any way to have like kind of bonus for the people that do stuff like that? Mr. Beach would agree, because he was a coach and do so much for the school, and it's a nice way of recognizing the people that are doing extra for the district without having to pay them. It's just like nice way to give them a little bonus for the big things that they do outside of that, right?
Are you talking financially, or are you talking?
No. I meant
As
a
far
bonus
as,
on the evaluation.
yeah, and those are separate. So like the extra, I mean, it's co-curricular, but so coaches receive an evaluation for coaching or for.
No, but like say, okay, so let's get away from coaching then. I knew I shouldn't have said that. But let's look at Ms. Concanon, because she wasn't a coach, wasn't a drama coach. She did all this extra outside of the classroom and influenced these kids. They have some of those people are some of the greatest teachers that ever come through the schools. They show all their passion and the work that they do outside of the classroom. So I would like to see us to have some kind of way to reward them for the extra that they do. And we're recognizing them as a district too, which is nice. You know, they say, hey, wait a minute, you know, they realize I'm doing this additional school. I don't know how you would do that, guys. I really don't. I don't have any way of doing it, but I'm just throwing that out there thinking it would be nice to recognize people who do other academic stuff for which we don't pay them, and yet they create a program in the school. Yes.
Do have stipends. So for example, Miss Mary Taft is the band director. She's also the band teacher at Cuatimundi Middle School. And she does get an additional stipend for the outside work that she does, along with, like Mr. Johnson gets a stipend for doing outside work with that. I can't say how it worked with Miss Concanon. She's phenomenal. I was in her drama, or it was drama then, it's theater now. But we really do, and we've even looked at all of the stipends that we had. We did that in IBB as well, and the principals with site stipends were able to talk about academic and coaching. So that's something that we've worked on in HR and with our administration and in the business office and management council. But if you wouldn't mind, can I just read what Ms. Taft?
Yeah, but before you go on, okay, I'm not talking about financial stuff and giving a person a stipends and that kind of thing. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the evaluation instrument. How can we give them some kind of bonus to recognize the work that they do?
And the thing that we would have to review is that statute is controls the majority of the teacher evaluation system. So I'm not sure how we'd be able to incorporate a bonus structure of.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm sorry. Can we go back to the slide where it has the different years? Something that's been talked about, you know, the different levels. So when you got to level 3, you wouldn't have to do all of those, like the colors. You would be able to go to see where it says optional in the purple and the maroon and the purple. It says it's optional, and then the green there's 10, but they wouldn't select all 10. So once they demonstrate that, it would streamline it to exactly what they need or what they're choosing to improve on. And that is much simpler. And then they would be able to upload their evidence to show their demonstration, no matter if it's in the classroom or if it's outside. And then with that data, we would be able to recognize, you know, what they're doing as well, just in this evaluation. The summative that you're looking at, it's only the one time, but we do now have a summative evaluation, and they're all of the, May, can you tell me how many SIOP on section 1 in the current evaluation?
Current one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's 26.
Yes. Yes.
26 plus the data and the other. So we really were trying to streamline it of what they needed. So the paper copy that I showed you second is just what's going to be given to HR for documentation in their files and what we upload to ADE.
On this part here, I like going back to classroom management. This could all be reduced to one thing. Does the teacher enforce discipline in the classroom? Period. And one second, then academically, there's number 3, it says organizing classroom and learning materials. Yeah, when you go back up to 2 from section 1A, instruction and learning, you have lesson preparation. Well, those are kind of redundant. And I don't know that one really needs to be there. What I want to do is I want to see it streamlined so that it makes it very easy for the evaluator to just go in and have to just do things instead of, there's just too many check boxes and too much for them to have their head down, looking at all this, trying to look at the person and check off all of these boxes. I think that it's tough.
Is that it, Mr. Rubin? Got anything else?
Well, I want to hear what she had to say.
We've talked to the principals and we've talked to the teachers. I don't know if any principal wants to say anything.
If I can interject, I think it's a living document.
It is absolutely.
As we move through, changes will probably be made.
Yeah.
And with Mr. Armidas, what I would do is look at the document, get a hard copy, make your comments, and give it to Ms. Cabrera, and she'll give it to the teachers, and you know, take your ideas and see if they can implement them, and we move forward.
Yeah, I would like to hear what the principals have to say. Sure, that sounds great. I would like to hear what you guys say. What's your input? What do you like and not like? I would love to hear that.
See, it's been, for me personally, I feel like this is really going to help my efficiency and the manner in which I'm able to provide feedback to teachers. I don't feel like there's a bunch of boxes. I can pick and choose. So if there's one component that I'm focusing on, or I see the teacher really shining in that area, then this enables me just to give feedback then and there in that particular one and immediately. So I really appreciate that. So instead of like our informal walkthroughs where I have to go back and write everything up and it just gets really bogged down with all of the paperwork. The magic is all at my fingertips. So it feels like a huge relief for us and really in our efficiency. And I did want to point out, I know like you really do have to hone in and look at the components and just the description of them. They may seem a little redundant, but for example, that classroom management, that piece is of course how you manage your classroom procedures, but then you have your disciplinary action. Is that school-wide? Are you following your discipline procedures? Are you implementing the referral? So those are significantly different and we do want to hold them accountable in both of those ways. So I know it seems like a lot, but it feels like we get to personalize the experience for teachers. I feel so, like, I literally gasped. I was absolutely excited. It was a visceral response because I feel like all the struggles I've been feeling for the past 13 years, I finally have a tool that I can really do my job and be more effective and help teachers be as effective as possible. I am ecstatic. I'm grateful to all.
Wow, you make it sound like it fell out of the skies, you know, in heaven.
That's how I feel. But that's truly how I feel. So I'm super excited.
Thank you, Ms. Renteria.
And if I can add something, I think one of the things that we truly appreciate with this whole process is the feedback from the teachers. I think, you know, so many times we kind of just make these kinds of decisions without the feedback of the teachers. And I think the teachers, their input, both going from teachers that are brand new to our district to teachers that have been here for a while, being able to provide that input. And those check boxes, quite honestly, I kind of feel like the tool that we have right now is a lot of check boxes. And it's a lot of, it's not that two-way conversation is what I truly enjoy about this new tool is the fact that it's gonna go both ways, right? They can show us, and you know, just like Ms. Cabrera mentioned earlier, you know, we may go into a class and just see the first part of class, but not see that something's coming around at the end of that class. So being able to have that two-way conversation, and it's not just the opinion, you know, because sometimes that can, quite honestly, I know that comes up, that can be the opinion of the administrator, but I think being able to have that teacher go, us have that dialogue back and forth to have that conversation so that we're all on the same page. And I think that allows us to really provide what we want to have as this tool, and what our goal is not, we don't want to be the police, we want to be, we want to do whatever we can do to support the teachers to help them improve. At the end of the day, that's the goal of the evaluation tool, and that's why the whole name is being looked at different, because we're not here to get teachers, we're here to try to work with teachers to provide that support so that they can be the best teachers possible. And I really, really appreciate that two-way conversation along with everything that you said. So that's where I feel like it's important for me to say that piece of it as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chavez.
I'll share my feelings. I remember when Mr. Shadler talked about this evaluation system. There were 10 categories and 49 subcategories. And I remember saying to Mr. Shadler, respectfully, this sounds like George W. Bush fuzzy math here. Like, how is this simplifying my life? What teacher's gonna upload 49 artifacts every year for their evaluation? But that was my first thought. But teachers don't have to upload 49 artifacts. They can pick and choose and customize what they want to work on based on what they're working on improving in their classroom. So that was my takeaway is teachers don't have to upload 49 artifacts, or I don't know, remember if that number is accurate.
Correct.
Okay, it's stuck in my mind. It's teachers working on what they need to work on, working in conjunction with the administrator, helping them figure out the things that they need to work on if needed. So that's my feedback to you, Mr.
Thank you. I just want to say that police, I'm not interested in anybody being a policeman. And arbitrary, well, of course, we want people to be objective about everything. So pushing that aside, I still read that there are redundancies, but I'm going to listen to what Mr. Beach said. I can bring it back, read it, and then show where the redundancies are. And we really need to streamline this. I still think it could still be a better instrument and much quicker, You go in there and I don't like to see people with their heads down. And then I was pretty surprised that we can pick and choose whatever you want from this list. So how does that go? You can pick.
Once you, it goes back to the self-evaluation. So when you have the mastery of that and the administrator has seen that as well, once you're at a 3 or a 4, you don't have to do it again throughout, you don't have to go back continuously during that year. So that would drop 1 off. And if there's ones that are low, they're a 1 or a 2, then we know those are the top priority areas that the teachers need the focus on. And so we would work in those areas using the folios and then that feedback between the administrator and the teacher.
Okay.
There's also some fluidity as far as like if you have a teacher who's mastered those, but then maybe a following year or whatnot happens to kind of regress in that area, you can add that area again. Or on the flip side, if the teacher has certain components depending on their level, they show you that they're demonstrating like really, you know, hitting it out of the ballpark in a different component that's not necessarily at their level. We can also, we have the ability as administrators to add that component. So there is just this beautiful fluidity to it as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. My turn. I'll keep it short because I know we're running long. Thanks to all the teachers that was involved in tailoring made this evaluation tool for Santa Cruz County, our district. I know 3 years is a lot of work, so I appreciate you guys for putting in that work. I like the way it's set up as far as level 1 teacher, you know, it just teach a good lesson, you know, introduction, your lesson, your closure. Second year, you're getting into more of the building background, those sort of scaffolding and allowing that new teacher or first year teacher just to get their foot in the door and don't have that anxiety of you gotta really know our culture and build this background. So I like the way it's scaffolded. And I like the way you can upload evidence. And going back to Mr. Ramirez, you know, how can Ms. Concanon or Mr. Ramirez that runs the German club upload evidence about his mastery of a standard? When I went to Germany with them, he had a worksheet with the students. He could upload that and say these standards are being hit and these standards are being mastered. And so that upload sort of takes in, I know what Mr. Ramirez was saying, you know, they do so much out of the classroom, but she can also, or he can also upload that evidence to show mastery in that standard. So like any evaluation tool, as we move along, you know, we add stuff, delete stuff, but I want to say thank you again to all involved for creating this rubric. Okay, here we go. Motion to approve the presented, whoops, hang on, we're down here. Motion to approve the Santa Cruz Valley Unified School District 35 teacher evaluation system as presented.
So moved.
Second. There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes, I'd like to say, so if we could, if I see things, I can change it and bring it back to you, Mr. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Rivera.
Thank you, Pastor.
Subject F, Santa Cruz Valley Unified School District policies.
No updates at this time.
Okay, subject G, propose and prioritize topics and possible dates and times for future board meetings.
The list is there. The only thing I would request, we have one meeting this month. And then we'll typically contact the board with a possibility of adding a special meeting for hiring purposes. Just a telephonic morning meeting. Or it could be an afternoon if that works with the board, but I will look at the schedule and send an email to that. Okay. Or to give you a heads up.
I want to say, Mr. Lugo, that I'll be gone as like usual, from the 27th, May 27th, and I won't be back till the 11th, 12th in there. So
yeah, this would be.
I was wondering if you could please do something so that I could, because for me to attend a governing board meeting, I think I did it once.
Yes.
But the time, there's a 9-hour difference, so kind of hard.
Yeah, and we'll work on that when you're out, but this would be just a special meeting, like probably May 20th would be the recommended.
Also, I want to remind you that there's a possibility that, I mean, tonight we have a quorum. Right, but that could also be a threat to that meeting. So, because of the circumstance.
Yeah, that's why I'll look and see what.
And I would like to help you. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, thank you. That's why, whether it be afternoon or morning, whatever works. The board will, I'll schedule some options and send that to you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Guerrero, you have anything to future topics?
Nothing.
Mr. Ramirez?
I have none. Thank you.
I have none. Also, okay. Consent agenda. Any matter on the consent agenda will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed as a regular agenda item upon the request of any board member. Any board member need anything taken off the consent? Guerrero? No. Mr. Ramirez?
No, I'm good.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carried. And I think we're done. Meeting is now adjourned at 6:40.